It has been a bad past 24 hours for Richard Sherman. In the past day, he has threatened to commit suicide, was involved in a hit and run, and was arrested for burglary domestic violence. What's going on there, guys? Welcome back to 610 Football. My name is Darren. If you're a returning subscriber, I appreciate your support so much, but if you're new here, why don't you consider hitting the subscribe button for some of the best NFL content on YouTube. Richard Sherman used to be one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL and will go down in history as an all-time great. He is a 5-time Pro Bowler, made 3 first-team All-Pros, won a Super Bowl, and is a member of the 2010 All-Decade Team. But now he is sitting in a jail cell in Washington State, and it's pretty scary how things got here. Let's go back to earlier in this offseason. Sherman, who was 33, had his contract expire with the San Francisco 49ers, and there has been little to no interest in teams signing him this entire offseason. But he has been keeping himself busy. He has begun writing articles for The Athletic and joined Chris Collinsworth on his PFF podcast. It seems that if he went into the regular season unsigned, he could retire and already have a new career set out for him. But now, he might not only never play in the NFL again, he could be spending his foreseeable future in prison. At about 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on July 14th, Sherman was booked at King County Correctional Facility in Seattle, Washington. The crime was listed as burglary DVINV, which means burglary domestic violence investigation. So let's break that down a little bit. Burglary in the state of Washington is defined as entering a place with the intent of committing a crime. The DV stands for domestic violence. Now, typically when people hear those pairing of words, they think of a spouse being harmed. But domestic violence could be anybody in your family being put in danger. The INV means investigation, which means the crime is currently being investigated as a felony. So let's backtrack a little bit. How does Sherman end up in this situation? Well, the timestamp of his first event is unknown, but it is definitely before 1 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Sherman's wife called in 911 and left this disturbing message to the dispatcher.
911, what are you reporting?
I need officers to my house now. My husband is drunk and belligerent. He's threatening to kill himself.
Stop. What's the address? Are there any weapons? Stop.
No, there's no gun. I'm saying there are no weapons, ma'am. There are no weapons.
You need to stop interrupting me so I can get the information I need to get officers expedited.
I need officers here now. He's trying to leave now in the house. He's being aggressive. He's wrestling with my uncle. He's threatening to kill himself. He has sent text messages to people saying he's going to hang himself. And he's saying that if the police show up, so please don't shoot is what I'm asking. Richard, please stop. Richard, please stop. Please stop. I cut the gate. We live behind it. It's Richard Sherman. Like, ma'am, this is like a emergency. I need officers here now.
Listen to me. I'm handling this. You need to stop telling me that.
Whoa. Now, whether the 911 call should have been made public is an argument for another time, but one thing we can definitely agree on is how bad that dispatcher was at calming down Ashley Sherman. Like, seriously. As you heard in the call, Ashley described Richard as extremely drunk. It was then reported that he ended up drinking not only a bottle of vodka, but also a bottle of Hennessy. He also tried fighting his wife's uncle and even threatened suicide by hanging himself. An extremely scary situation. So going off of the ESPN article, Sherman, who was still extremely drunk at this point, left his house and took off in his SUV. At about 1:26 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Washington State Patrol received a call. It stated that a possibly impaired driver drove his SUV into a closed construction zone. The caller said later that they were very fortunate there was no injuries. Police investigated the vehicle and found significant damage to the driver's side, which came from colliding with a barrier in a nearby parking lot. The police ended up running the tag on the SUV and it came back registered to Sherman. Then about 20 minutes later, Redmond police received a call of a man trying to break into someone's house. That man was indeed Richard Sherman. Now, earlier in the video, I mentioned the domestic violence part and how the crime has something to do with anybody in his family. It was originally reported by Redmond police that he was trying to break into his ex-wife's in-law's house. There's only one issue. Richard Sherman doesn't have an ex-wife, and his wife Ashley Sherman made that very known on Twitter. It ended up being his wife's parents' house, not his ex-wife's. Details are important, people. But getting back to the gist of the story, both Washington State Patrol and Redmond Police surrounded Sherman outside of the house. The altercation started off calm, with Sherman joking with the men and one of the officers saying that he even parked Sherman's car while he was a valet in high school. But then the situation took a turn for the worse. The officers and the patrolmen were given probable cause to place Sherman under arrest. Sherman then started to walk away, slowly increasing his pace. The police eventually had to deploy a K-9 unit onto Sherman to help aid with the arrest. Sherman was eventually placed under arrest and was transported to a nearby hospital to treat some lacerations on his leg after the dog attacked him. Afterwards, he was taken to King County Correctional Facility. He was given no bail, which is typical for a case like this. Someone in a domestic violence charge doesn't receive bail until they appear in front of a judge, which for Sherman will be on Thursday afternoon. So in total, Sherman is facing charges for burglary, domestic violence, potentially facing charges for resisting arrest and malicious mischief, and is ready to be referred to prosecutors for misdemeanor DUI and hit and run charges. Sherman's wife has only made one statement so far regarding this situation, and it reads, "At this time, we were told not to make any statements except that he didn't harm anyone. My kids were not harmed in the incident. He is a good person and this is not his character. We're doing all right, just trying to get him out. I want people to know no one was injured." Later that day on NFL Total Access, Ian Rappaport gave some insight as to what led to all of this.
One other thing I want to mention, there was a somewhat disturbing 911 call where Richard Sherman and his wife allude to some of the personal troubles that he is currently going through. My understanding is his close friends have been well aware of this and actually visited Sherman's house on a couple different occasions this offseason to try to intervene and help Richard Sherman deal with what he's dealing with personally. Obviously, the culmination of this was this incident that we are hearing about now.
It is clear that Sherman is suffering from major personal issues. Now, whether it's depression, other mental health issues, or even worse, possible early signs of CTE, I'm really pushing for him to get through all of this. Hopefully, he can come out of this situation stronger than he was before, and I'm rooting for him the entire way. Thanks for watching this video. I hate doing videos that are kind of sad, but this was an important video to make. So if you like this content, make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button for some of the best NFL content out on YouTube. Also, check out the description where you can find my Instagram, my Twitter, and my TikTok. I am also opening up a basketball branch of this LLC, which will be run by my friend Brandon. You can find a link to the YouTube and the Instagram in the description below. So, thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.